All right, thank you, Jerry Smith, for joining us today. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for taking time out of your day and allowing us to get to know you a little bit better and for sharing your story with us. So thank you, bro.
Let's see if you enjoy my story.
Oh yeah, I think we will. You have a lot of hidden
I'm
gems.
kind of boring.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, so first, Jerry, kind of guide me through kind of like your beginning stages in life. What was like elementary
Elementary school.
like those ages? Like,
Uh, I was raised on farms in southeast Kansas, down by Moran, Kansas, and La Harpe, Kansas, in the area of Iola, Kansas. From the time that I was about 3 months old until I was 12, and it was a wonderful life. My grandparents raised me, and so therefore I grew up kind of sometimes in what today you would call the hard way, because we did everything pretty much by hand, and we did it with horses. My people were never mechanized. We always used horses in the fields. And as I progressed along in life, we moved from a farm north of Moran, Kansas, when I was probably about 4, maybe 5, into a farm that was south of Moran, Kansas. The reason for the moving is because in the Depression days, my grandfather got caught in the banks and went broke because they didn't have FDIC insurance at that time, and so therefore he wasn't able to make his payments, I guess, and they took his farm.
oh really?
So we lived there for a while. This was before I was born.
What year was this?
That would have probably been in the 30s when he lost his farm.
And it was like when everyone was trying to go to the banks and like take their money out.
Yes, yes, more or less.
Oh, okay.
I was born in 1940
Okay.
in Pryor, Oklahoma, and my folks separated when I was 3 months old. That's why I wound up with my grandparents.
Oh, okay.
My mother went back to her parents, and they raised me, and she left and went to work to try to pay money to them to help raise me.
Okay.
So anyway, the second farm we went to was south of Moran, about 2 miles south, and then a little back east. And we lived there till I was probably 6 or 7. And I went to a country school there. It was called Grant Country School, one-room schoolhouse.
Oh wow.
I think there was 7 kids in that school. But I walked to school at about a quarter of a mile, maybe a little farther than a quarter of a mile from the house to school. You walked back and forth to school every day. That's the way you got there. And
you learned all the subjects in there, in that one classroom.
Every
Like
subject,
history, math,
yes,
science.
but they also taught first, second, third, all the way to the 8th grade
In one
in
classroom.
one classroom.
So you could be in kindergarten and there would be an eighth grader
There
in
wasn't
there.
anything like kindergarten.
First grade. You
Yeah,
could be in
first
first grade and there would be an eighth grader in your class.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Wow.
I went to the first grade when I was 5, I think.
When you were 5.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
And
So you just skipped right over kindergarten.
well, there's no kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
There was no kindergarten in country schools. In
Straight to first grade.
Went to the first grade.
Oh, okay. And what was that like? How was like the teaching, like how is it different from today? I know now we have like technology and books and stuff, but
Well,
how was it taught back then, especially when you're like going with like kids with all sorts of different ages?
I I think there was 2, maybe 3 people the same age as I was. We were all 3 in the same class, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, I think, I remember her name was Edna Cook. She was a little playmate too, and she lived across the street from where we lived, or across the road from where we lived on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they put me in school when I was 5. I already knew my ABCs, and I knew how to count from 1 to 100 and such as that. I think, as I recall, I could write a little bit, like write numbers and stuff, but I couldn't do words or anything like that. I couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was taught to read in school. But anyhow, that's where it started. That's where my schooling started. And then from there, and when I was probably about 7, we moved to another area south of La Harpe, Kansas, which would have been about 2 miles south of La Harpe, and that's where we lived until the farm. Until my grandparents got too old to farm, but that's where we lived. But we always used horses. That's where I began to use horses in the field to cultivate corn with, and such as that, and other things that you do with horses. And I rode a horse to school.
Really?
Yes.
In elementary school?
Yes. And I went to school there until they sold the farm, or the farm wasn't sold, but my grandparents got too old to farm, and the horses were getting old, and they didn't want to buy any more horses. We never had a tractor. Never ever had a tractor.
You just couldn't afford it, or you just didn't want to conform to the new technologies?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Maybe it's because that's the way my grandparents grew up.
They wanted to do it.
And that's the way they knew how to do it and make it work. And maybe it was the fact that tractors cost too much and they didn't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
I never ever felt like we were poor. But on the other side of that, I guess I never thought about rich or poor at that time in my life,
You had everything you needed. You had clothes,
we had roof. Yes, and excellent food. My grandmother was an excellent cook.
Mm-hmm.
And we had excellent food. She canned, put up food, for the wintertime and such as that. There's nothing better than homemade canned green beans, I guarantee you. They're good stuff. It is good stuff.
And did you guys have like that fridge that's outside? Like a you know how back then they would have like the fridge outside because there was like no fridge inside yet?
No, we had what they called an ice box.
Yeah, ice box. Okay. You had one of those?
We had an ice box when we lived in the first farm that I talked about, and the second farm that I talked about. We had an ice box, and we would go to town, or they would go to town, and they would buy what you'd call a block of ice. And they'd take that block of ice home and put it in that refrigerator or in that ice box. It would never freeze anything.
Okay.
But it cooled the stuff that you put in there.
So nothing ever went bad when you had that in there?
Not that I recall.
And I remember...
But remember now, I'm little. I don't... This is not my business. But I don't ever remember anything going bad that was thrown away.
Okay.
So I would say, no, nothing went bad. But, it kept the milk cool. It kept cream cool and stuff like that.
Would the Iceman come out in his truck?
No, they got it themselves. They went to get it themselves. Okay. No, the Iceman didn't come. And, of course, we milked cows, had chickens, so we had our own eggs. We raised hogs.
Okay.
And they butchered hogs. The hog butchering process was really quite a process. They killed the hog, and they had a barrel, a large barrel, and a big black pot, and they'd fill that pot full of water, and then they would put wood and corn cobs and stuff like that around it until the water got really, really hot. And then they would dump some of that water into this barrel, which set at an angle so they could slide the pig in and out,
Okay.
And get him, that hot water made the hair loose on the pig so it was easier to get off. And they did what they scraped it like shaved him.
Okay.
To
get the hair off.
To get the hair off.
Okay.
And he when they got through with him, he was clean and pretty, he was dead, but but they hung him up by his hind legs.
Okay.
With a single tree. Now I know you don't know what a single tree is. A single tree is the one thing that hooks onto a horse's harness, that hooks onto another board that goes across.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There'll be a single tree over here and a single tree over here, and you got two horses.
Yeah.
One of these they would take and use on the hog to hang the hog up with a rope pulley into a tree.
Which is more convenient to do it that way, easy? Or how did they figure that system out?
I suppose that's a system that came from the old people, because you understand now we're dealing with an older generation that was born in the 1800s.
Oh, yeah. So how was that like? Like having grandparents that were born in the 1800s?
It was great.
Like, what do you remember now, like, that you didn't, like, really value back then, like, that they taught you maybe when you were younger?
Anything that I can think of that they taught me They taught me how to work.
Mm-hmm.
They taught me honesty. They taught me fairness, to play fair, and to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things. I mean, the true things that you really need in life.
Seems
You
like some
know,
of that is lacking in this generation.
and and manners. They taught some manners.
Mm-hmm.
We went to church and Sunday school uh, on a pretty regular basis on Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
and when church or Sunday school would be over with, it wouldn't be anything at all to be invited to a neighbor's home for dinner, and maybe the dinner wasn't even done, and maybe 2 or 3 families would go to somebody's house and they'd start putting things together, and the next thing you know, they'd have a meal done.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that would happen and somebody go home with us.
So that was a common thing to do.
It was a neighborly thing to do.
Okay.
And you worked with your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
In the second place where we lived, south of Moran, I remember a thrashing machine coming in. Now you don't know what a thrashing machine is, I'm sure, and you probably never have seen one.
Mm-mm. What
But
is
it's
that?
a big machine that it's like a combine, except it sits still, and you put your wheat or oats into it, and it separates all that stuff and makes what they called straw piles, big straw piles.
Oh.
And it was all stationary, and this thing was hooked up to a steam engine. It looks like a big steam engine thing. It looks like a tractor. It's going down the road, and the guy that owned it, he brought the tractor and the steam engine, and then when he got the thrashing machine, and then when he got it all set up, then he'd hook the steam engine had a big wheel on it, with a belt that ran out here to another pulley and hooked it up so it would work the machine. Still, at this time, now they're not using tractors; they're using horses, teams of horses.
Mm-hmm.
People would come in, and this grain that they're getting ready to thrash, it's called thrashing. Getting ready to thrash has been cut, and it's in bundles, about big around.
Okay.
And it's tall. They cut it off at the not at the level of the ground, but that far up from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It has been cut off, and it has been tied up in these bundles, and it's been what they called shocked. It's all stacked together.
Okay.
Not the whole field, but different areas of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be guys coming with horses, teams and wagons, and they would go out and they would pitchfork. You know what a pitchfork is?
Yeah.
Okay, they would take a pitchfork and they would throw these bundles on a trailer or a wagon, and then they would pull them to the thrashing machine.
Okay.
And there'd be a couple of 3 guys at the thrashing machine that would unload, and throw them in the thrashing machine. They cut the string off of it first because the string got tangled up in the innards of the thrashing machine, and then they'd have to stop and take it apart to get that all straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
My job was to drive a pony with a cart, and we had brown jugs, yay by yay. And the ladies would wrap them up with gunny sacks, or they were already wrapped up with gunny sacks, and they poured water on them to cool them.
Okay.
And then they would fill them full of water, and I would haul that water out to the field, and I would go from wagon to wagon to wagon, and so these guys could get drinks.
Okay.
And then when I'd run out of water, me and the pony would go back to the house, and they'd fill it up again.
Oh.
And I was probably 6 years old.
Okay. So you were out in the field at a very young age, early.
Yeah, yeah.
And how was that like? Like, did you like doing that type of stuff?
Yeah. What did you know? There's nothing else I know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have TV. I think maybe we had a radio. The radio was run off of a wind generator.
Okay.
A wind generator was a little round thing about yay big around and about that long. Looked like a generator on your car.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a whirligig on it. You set it up so when the wind blew, it turned it, and that made electricity, and it charged a battery in the house that run the radio.
Oh, wow.
But it didn't run it all day. I mean, you could turn it on and listen to the news at noon or something like that, or maybe listen to a show in the evening, Amos and Andy or something like that.
Okay. So as you get older, do you get like more responsibilities? Like you move from being like kind of the water boy to,
Oh yeah,
I don't know, like handling some of the machinery and stuff like that?
Yeah, driving horses and cultivating corn and that kind of stuff.
And you were doing this like after school, before school?
No, not. I
Like
did it
if
in the
you're in the school
summertime.
year, or just the
In
summertime?
summertime work.
And in the school year,
In a
you're just
school
focused
year,
on
in a
school?
school year, you have chores to do.
Okay.
You got cows to milk in the morning. You got cows to feed in the morning. You got chores to do. You don't just get up and put your clothes on and get ready to go to school. You go out and you do your chores first.
Okay.
And then when you come home, you got to repeat it all over again. You got hogs to feed, chickens to feed, cows to milk. Make sure that they're in the barn or up where you can get them in the barn and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was a wonderful life. Now you may sit there and think, "Boy, that's a terrible life." It was a wonderful.
That seems like
life.
a simple life. Like you can't complain.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think about it a lot, and I'm very grateful that I was raised the way I was. But then when we moved over to the other farm south of La Harpe, I went to another one-room school, and it was called Independence School.
Okay.
And it was still one room with a big wood-burning stove in the middle of it, just like the other one had. So in the wintertime, the teacher would have to stoke up the fire and get it warmed up in there and stuff like that. And there was only 6 of us in that school.
And this is middle school?
No,
or still elementary?
It's still 1 through 8 grades.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what. There's no middle school or elementary.
We have no classes with 8th graders or 6th graders or 1st graders. No classes like that.
Oh, okay.
But she had time in her day's works to work with each one of us.
Okay.
If there were 3 of us in the 1st grade or 3rd grade or 10th grade, or not 10th grade, but say 4th grade, she would take the 4 of us and do something with it. Hi, how are you? And do something with it. And but the 8th graders had their time where she would spend time with them, and us little guys, how are you?
Sorry, didn't mean to
interrupt.
The little guys would spend time doing their own thing,
Okay.
But it was great. I'm telling you, it was a wonderful way to live.
It is like so hard for me to imagine like that because I've never like grown up like that or like heard anyone like I don't think any of the kids now have grown up like that,
No, there wouldn't be any like that. But anyhow,
that's why you just can't like imagine myself like
that's
crazy.
now we're at the point where I rode the horse to school at Independence. I rode the horse to Independence.
So how was that like? Like you
And
just tie up the horse outside?
There was a pony barn there from days past, and I put a leaf of hay, which is by yay, and a couple of ears of corn in a gunny sack every morning and tied him on behind the saddle, and took him to school, and then I'd tie him in the pony barn in the wintertime, and then I'd go out at noon and give him his food.
Oh, okay.
Now there's one time that I didn't do that. It was cold, it was nasty, it was snowy, and I just didn't want to go out and do it. But I had taken the gunny sack with his leaf and hay, his corn and hay off of it, and laid it down there on the ground to get ready to go feed him. And when I went out to get him that night, he was mad, and he wasn't going to let me go home. He wasn't going to let me get on to go home, and I never did that to him again. He was pretty upset. I had to lead him up to in front of the schoolhouse to get the teacher to hold him so I could get on him.
Really?
And when I got on him, we went home, and it was 1.5 miles, and we flew home. But the next day we got up and went to school, and I guess he had forgiven me because he never did that to me again. But I never did forget to go out and feed him again either. I didn't forget to do it. I was just too lazy to put on my coat and stuff and go out in the cold to go feed him. And he knew that because he's standing there looking at his sack laying there on the ground. And he knows that's his because he's been getting one every day.
So that was a comment.
And he was mad. And he let me know it. But, you grow up.
So that was a common thing then, like, even if you're not at home, you're still kind of working, like, feeding your animal.
More or less.
Just taking care of it, because
that was your job. I mean, he's got to live too, You depend on him. We're using horses for a lot of things. You drove cattle with horses. You worked horses. You had different size horses, but,
So you kind of built like this special bond with that horse then. So he kind of
I had a bond with him. We was bonded, we were buddies. But of course, I spent a lot of time with him.
And how long did that go on for? Where you took the horse to school? Was that like all the way to high school?
No,
all the way.
This is at the point in time where my people got too old to farm, and the horses, like I said earlier, the horses were getting old and tired, and I don't think my grandfather wanted to buy another horses and start all over again because he was getting pretty close to 70.
Oh wow. And he was still farming.
Yeah,
Wow, like manually. Wow, that's crazy.
working like the old
Yeah, that's
people,
hard work for a
like the
70
old
year old.
people. And so they sold everything off and they moved to town and bought a house. And that at that point in time, my mother had remarried,
Okay.
and she took me before they sold out at the farm. She came out to the farm and got me. I guess her and my grandmother had quite a squabble about it, but she got me and took me to city school.
Oh, really?
It's a town to the city, Iola, Kansas.
And that was your first time ever going, like, seeing a school, like, in the city?
Yes, and I was overwhelmed, uh, and I never really ever recovered from it. Uh,
Was there just,
for
like,
some reason or other, I just could not get it together. In the country schools, I had made excellent grades and did good and learned fast. But when I got to the city school, I was overwhelmed to go to school and have 4 or 5 different classes in a day in a different room with 30 kids or 40 kids. I just couldn't, I'd never recovered from that.
we're
So
never used to
therefore,
that.
I did not do very well in school.
Okay.
I think probably most people thought that maybe I wasn't very intelligent, but I think I must have been intelligent because in my life as I've lived it, it's kind of come out that I really wasn't. I may not be the most intelligent guy in town, but I wasn't stupid,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And anyway, that went on, and I graduated from high school in 1959.
Did you play any sports in high school?
Huh?
Did you play any sports in high school?
No, that's another thing. You see, all the kids that were in the city schools, they had gone through kindergarten and all the way up by with themselves.
Okay.
So they had their own groups, and they were already established as who was playing basketball and who was playing football and who played baseball and who played tennis and all that stuff. So, and I had no learnings for that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not had nobody ever played baseball or track or football. I didn't know the rules for football. I didn't know rules for basketball. I didn't know how to do that. Now I did do well in drama
Okay.
because I was always in the school plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of enjoyed doing that. It was kind of fun.
What brought your interest to drama? Like, out of all the things, did you like watching, like?
I can't remember what the play was. One time we had a play, and it was more or less about a young generation, like city high school kids
Mm-hmm.
being on the street and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I remember that my character part was called Sweetheart, and I wore a black leather jacket and all that kind of the tough guy in town type
So you're kind of like a greaser.
Yeah, greaser. That'd be right. It
Yeah.
could be a greaser, and all that stuff.
So what was high school like then? You're like transitioning from the farm into the city.
Yeah,
Like, what's it like? Are you like
I'm
kind of
behind.
like adjusting to it?
I'm behind.
You're behind.
I'm behind.
You're still trying to see like what everything's all about, all this new stuff.
Yeah, see, I didn't have the subjects in the grade school or in the schools, the country schools. We did not have the subjects taught to us like they taught in city schools.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher would stand in front of you in a city school, and she would go across the blackboard doing things, and she would lecture you on things. She would give you assignments on things, and you read the books and did the work.
Mm-hmm.
I had never had homework to do in my life.
Okay.
In the country schools, you just didn't get it. You did what you did at school is what you got.
You went to school, and then when you came back home, it was your chores.
When you went to school and you came home, you went to work
Okay.
doing your chores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we got out of school in country schools a month before city schools did.
Oh, wow.
And it was set up that way because most farm kids had to start farming. That's about the time you start planting corn and doing crops and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So you would get out like in May?
We got out in May, yeah.
May to like you come back in August or September?
I'm thinking maybe we came back in August.
Okay.
August or maybe September. We came back after Labor Day, whatever that is.
Oh yeah, September.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so you guys got a really long break.
Yeah, we came back
So
after
that whole
that.
summer you're just working on the farm.
You know, we got hay to bale, you got stuff, you got corn to pick, you got things to do. We worked.
So you said you graduated from high school in 1959?
Uh-huh.
What do you do after high school?
I graduated from high school on a Friday and got my diploma, and Monday morning I left and went to McPherson, Kansas. My mother and my grandfather or stepfather had given me a car for graduation.
Okay.
A 1956 Ford. It had a brand new engine in it, and good transmission and everything. And I left Iola along with a high school friend, and we went to McPherson, Kansas, and I went to work for Sanor Construction. We both went to work for Sanor Construction. It was already set up because the superintendent of Sanor Construction was my mother's sister's husband.
Okay.
So I went to McPherson, and he was going to give us a shot to let us work. So I worked there all that summer in McPherson, and we moved from McPherson to Ellsworth.
Okay.
And in Ellsworth is where, after work one night, there was 5 or 6 of us went to the local swimming pool and was swimming, and I jumped off I dove off of the 10-foot swimming board or diving board, and I hit a guy on the shoulder with this part of my body.
Oh yeah.
And it broke the sternum, and the bottom part went underneath the top part.
Oh wow.
Like so.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the hospital. They put me in the hospital for that. Well, they had me laying in a bed that was cranked up with a bow in the middle of it over this way, trying to pull that back out. And there was a point in time there where I thought, I'm going to croak if I don't get a deep breath. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and see what happens. I took a real deep breath, and that pushed this back into place.
Oh really?
Yeah, it came back in place.
Oh wow.
And then I had to take a heck of a time telling the nurse I didn't need to lay that way anymore because I had popped this back in place. So finally she believed me, and she laid me out flat. And the doctor came in the next morning, and he said, there's no way that we can put a brace on this. We have to leave it like it is, and we'll just put a pad across it and then tape it.
Okay.
You know, make it tight so
Mm-hmm.
maybe this will hold against it. I was in the Ellsworth Hospital for 9 or 10 days.
What's going through your head when you did that?
When I did what?
When you hit that person in the pool?
I don't remember.
And you're at the hospital.
I don't remember. I remember going to the hospital, and I remember the doctor that came to attend me was at the drive-in theater, and they brought her in from the drive-in theater. It was a female doctor. I do remember that, but I don't remember her name, and I don't remember that. I was in a room with one guy. His name was, I think his name was Bill, but I'm not positive about that. I believe it was Bill. But he and I were in the same room, and then there was another bed there also. And there was a guy that came in and had been in an automobile accident, and he had broken his leg, and his leg had been run through the.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they had him hooked up on ropes and pulleys and stuff trying to pull that back out. And he was drunk when they came in, and he was noisy all the time. So you didn't get too much rest when that was going on. But when I first had it first happened to me, and they got me into this room with old Bill and myself, I could not raise my arms.
Okay.
You know, the nurses came in and fed me and such as that. And the doctor came in and said, "You'll be fine. You'll get used to it. You know, you'll be all right. There's no damage there to hurt anything." Which was fine. And you know, within 3 or 4 days, yeah, I could move myself around a little bit. I couldn't roll over. They wouldn't let me turn over. So I was on my back the whole time. as I recall.
So after 10 days, 9, 10 days, you're out of the hospital?
Hmm.
And what do you do after that? Do you go back to work in construction
No, I went back home,
in Iola?
back to Iola, and of course I was still living at home with my mom, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I I had enough money in my pocket that I went down and entered myself into college. So I went to junior college there for a while.
Iola Community College?
Yeah,
And how was that?
well, it was all right, I suppose, but I suppose I wasn't ready for it because I hadn't been a very good student in high school, and here I am back again in school doing this stuff. And I probably was there for 9 weeks, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out one day and said, I'm not doing this. And went and told my mom, got in my car and went and told my mom, I said, I'm leaving here. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going back to Ellsworth and go back to work.
Okay. Construction.
Construction. And so we were road builders is what we were,
Okay.
laying asphalt and making roads and stuff like that. And I went back, and I had been driving a dump truck before.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back, he said, yeah, I can use you. I'll put you back to work. They put me on equipment. I started running bulldozers and,
Okay.
road rollers and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And went ahead and finished out that year till wintertime came. And then in wintertime, when the temperature reaches 32 degrees, you can't lay asphalt. You can't lay asphalt when it's freezing.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to that point. So he sent me back home and told me to go home. I went home and signed up for unemployment. And so I was drawing unemployment. And I had a cousin that worked in the oil fields. And down around Chanute, Kansas, which is not too far from Iola. And he came in one day and said, "You want to go to work?" And I said, "Well, I don't care. I hadn't thought about going to work, but I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably 20, maybe 21.
21 years old.
Yeah, probably.
And you're going to go work at the oil fields.
And so I went down and went to work in the oil field, and I worked there 2 weeks. And it was the worst job I ever had in my life.
Why is that?
I just didn't like that kind of work.
It's too much work, like really hard work?
Not so much hard.
Or is it dirty work or?
It could be dirty.
Okay.
But you know what a crow's nest is? That's the top of the rig that pulls wells.
Oh, yeah.
Or also uses for drilling holes.
Mm-hmm.
It's zero weather, and it's in the wintertime. It's zero weather, and I'm working on the top of that crow's nest up there pulling pipe.
Oh, okay.
And I did not like it at all. I did not like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a snowstorm and an ice storm one night. Next morning, I got up and said, "I'm not going to go back to work. That's crazy." that would have been in February.
Okay, of 1960 or 1961.
1961.
Okay.
Yeah, 1961. And back in those days, you got drafted for the military.
Yeah, because the Vietnam War is going on around that time.
No. It's not going on. This is way before Vietnam War.
Oh, okay. So even if there wasn't no war, you would still get drafted?
Yes, you could get drafted, yes.
Okay.
But I went down to the draft board and I said, put me on the top of the list. And of course I knew the lady that runs the draft board and stuff. And they put me at the top of the list and I got drafted. And went to Fort Leonard Wood the 8th of March of 1961.
For the Army?
Uh-huh. And I took my basic training there.
How was that? How was basic training?
It's good.
Was it like, since you came from like farming and everything and you're kind of built tough, do you think you found it easy to go through those like trainings?
Oh yeah, it wasn't hard.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I've worked construction now for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't hard. No, heck no, it wasn't hard at all.
Were the drill sergeants like physical? Like were they in your face and stuff?
Oh, only if you called for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you messed up or something, they was right on you. But no, I never had any trouble with that.
Okay.
I don't remember how many guys was in the company of my recruit class training there. I don't remember how many was in there. maybe 300 guys.
Oh wow.
But you take a physical agility exam.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you do sit-ups and you run and you do pull-ups and you cross bridges, you cross streams on logs and all this kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were in the top 20, you got a weekend pass.
Okay.
I was number 13.
And what are you thinking?
Huh?
What are you thinking? Like, what's going through your head when you got number 13?
Well, I got a pass.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you do?
I didn't do nothing. I stayed there. I didn't have any money to go anywhere.
Okay.
I was broke. I didn't have any money.
But were you happy? Like, were you looking to get the pass, or didn't really
No,
matter
I
to
didn't.
you?
I didn't realize that.
Okay.
I mean, I was just doing it. It was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. So you get the pass, you complete basic training. What's the next step, or like what do you want to do with that?
I got out of basic training, but before I got out of basic training, we were on the rifle range,
Mm-hmm.
and sergeant came to me and he said, "Smith, there'll be a deuce and a half, which is a 2.5 ton truck, here in just a little bit to pick you up, and they're going to take you someplace back in where the buildings were all at."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Am I in trouble?" And he said, "No, you ain't in any trouble. Don't worry about it." So I said, "Okay." So the guy showed up, and I went over, and he asked me, "Are you Smith?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "Okay, get in the back here. I got to haul you in." And I'm still wondering, what in the world did I do? I didn't do nothing, Now, right at this point in time, I had already made up my mind that I was going to go airborne. I was going to go jump out of an airplane.
Okay.
In 101st Airborne or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
And how did that come up?
How did it come up?
Yeah, like how did that come up that you wanted to do the?
I just saw it and I thought I just knew it was there,
Mm-hmm.
available if you wanted to volunteer for it.
Okay.
And I thought, well, when basic's over with, I'll volunteer for it. But it never got that far. Anyway, he took me to a building there, and he said, "This is where you need to go, and when you get through in there, I will be out here and I'll take you to your company." I said, "Okay." So I go in there, and there's 7 guys in there, seven guys, just recruits, just like me. And a guy up on the stage, he was an E4, which means he was probably a corporal, equivalent to a corporal.
Mm-hmm.
He was a specialist E4, which is, I made E4 quick. But he said, "Okay, you guys have been picked to go to the Army Security Agency." He said, "I can't tell you what it is or what you do, but the only thing I can tell you is they only lost 1 man in the Korean War." And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, that sounds like something for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of danger, evidently. So I raised my hand and said, "Yeah, I'll go. No problem." So anyway, the guy took me to my company, and I got out, went back in the barracks, and I got back to the barracks a long time before the rest of the guys did. So I had my work done, my shoes put back together or shined and put back together, and my rifle cleaned and everything for the day, and put back in the shelf where it went.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, that was, and I had not a clue. I had not a clue what it was. Didn't even really care. I had 2 years to do in the Army, and I don't care. I'll do it and go, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we graduated from boot camp on my birthday.
Oh wow!
As a matter of fact.
How'd you celebrate?
And then I headed home. Went home. It took me 13 hours on a bus to get from Fort Leonard Wood to Iola, Kansas, and you can drive it in 3.5 hours.
Oh wow!
I had a layover someplace along Springfield, I guess. I don't know, someplace. Had a long layover. And so it was the next day before I got home. But anyhow, when I got home, my mother says, "What kind of trouble are you in the Army?" And I said, "I'm not in any trouble in the Army. Why you asked me that?" And she said, "The FBI has been all over town checking on you." So I was being checked out by the FBI to see if I was, legitimate, if I was honest, if I was a crook or had any records or, this kind of stuff.
Oh wow! So they're kind of doing like a background check.
Yeah, doing a background check.
Okay.
Yeah. And evidently I passed because I made it to Europe in the Army Security Agency. Wound up in my main base was in Herzl base. Herzl Grenada was the name of the town. The base was called Herzl base, and it was strictly an Army Security Agency base.
Okay.
There was about 2,000 troopers there, soldiers there.
And how was that like? Were you happy that you
Yeah,
picked to do it?
No, there was no work there at all. I mean, it was a different kind of deal. Anyway, I spent some time there, and then they shipped me out of there to Coburg, Germany.
Okay.
Which is a place that you've never heard of, and maybe you couldn't even find it on a map. Yeah, you can find it on a map. It's northeast of Bamberg, Germany, which you'll be able to find.
Mm-hmm.
But there was only 35 GIs on that post.
Okay.
And there was 3,000 German soldiers.
So very few of you guys then.
And there was only 35 of us.
Okay. And what's that like?
Our duties are not like you might think as a soldier. Our duties were different than that. We had no contact with the German soldiers at all. We had our own thing and our own deal. We had no formation, no guard duty, no KP, nothing like that.
So what are you doing like on a daily basis? What's your like job?
Well, sometimes I was a courier. You know, I'd haul material from where I was at down to Herzl base to be checked over and looked at. Sometimes whatever was to be done is what I did.
And you'd work there from like Monday to Friday, or what was like the schedule like?
Oh no, you worked 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Uh-huh.
So like you really didn't get a break at all? Like
you got breaks if you could take leave time if you wanted to. But if you didn't have anything to do, one of my friends or one of my buddies there, we had an apartment downtown.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a day off or a couple of days off, we'd go down to the apartment just to get out of the barracks,
Mm-hmm.
get away. And it cost us $7 a month a piece.
$7 a month to rent.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow!
And
how much were you making though, a month?
I was making $166, I think.
Oh wow! So that went pretty far then.
Well, I stayed home $50 a month, automatic withdrawal from my pay.
Okay, back to your mom.
All the way, yeah, back to my mom, all the way through boot camp and everything.
Okay.
I signed up to do that, and but yeah, we had this apartment downtown. It had 2 beds in it. You know, you could go down there and relax if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And what's that like? You're from a small town in Kansas, and now you're in Germany, in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going through your head? Like, how did I get myself here? Like, are you excited that you're exploring the world coming from such a small town?
I liked it over there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Germany. I liked where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And, the German food is excellent. It's really good. I like it. Of course, they make excellent beer.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good stuff. So, on your time off, you might spend a little time in a cantina or a cafe or something, There was a ice cream store in that town called Ice Dealer, something like that. But their ice cream was made like homemade ice cream. I mean, it was cream. It was delicious,
Mm-hmm.
They had little shashlik stands, which looks like a weenie about that long, and they give you a weenie and a bun, and they put mustard on it. It's good. It's really good. And they were like 50 cents maybe.
Really? Wow. So everything was pretty much cheap over there when you were over there.
You could get 4 marks for $1.
Oh, okay.
And a mark is equivalent to $1 by the way we think about it.
Okay, so $1 you get $4 over there.
For $1 I could get 4 marks, which gave me more. A beer cost you 15 cents.
Oh wow!
So you get a dime back out of a mark.
So really good deal then.
And it was a good time. It's not that way anymore. I've been back 4 times since I retired,
Mm-hmm.
and now then you go through Euros.
Oh yeah.
And Euros it's a little different story now than it was when I was stationed over there. But anyway.
And did you know how to speak German?
I learned how to speak German strictly because of the guys in my group spoke German.
Okay.
Some of them spoke German, some of them spoke Czechoslovakian, some of them spoke Hungarian, some spoke Russian, some spoke German. And so I learned how to speak it through them.
And how is it like over there? Because I know there's like the Russians have one side of the border, and the Germans have the what is it, the west side?
It was. We had the west side and they had the east side, and it was divided. And that was one of the things that we did. I went out along the border several times, uh, just on patrol or just fooling around, or because I went out there to do something.
Mm-hmm. And what was that like? Like how did the Germans feel back then about that?
Oh, the Germans they didn't care.
They didn't care. They were just like it's been.
The Second Armored Cavalry Division out of Bamberg, Germany, came up and patrolled the border. You ran into those guys every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. So how long are you in Germany for?
16 months.
16 months
Yeah.
straight.
16 or 18, something like that.
Okay. And you enjoyed your time there, you said, right? You liked the culture, the food, the people you were with.
You can get a haircut
Mm-hmm.
for a mark, which is equal to 25 cents.
Okay.
That's the way to put a mark. Mark would be a quarter to us.
Wow. So that was cheap for a haircut?
Because you get 4 of them for $1.
Oh, wow.
But it was 25 cents for a haircut. And they used a razor. They didn't use a buzzer. They used a straight razor to cut your hair.
Even the top of your head?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And when they got through with it, you looked slick. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
That was after the time that you didn't have to have your hair all cut off and all that jazz like you did in boot camp. They go in and they'd shave you.
Okay.
And that's a hygiene thing, because who knows whether you got lice or bed bugs or what, And so they don't take a chance. They just shave you off.
Okay.
Even Elvis Presley got his hair cut.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good duty. I liked it.
Any crazy stories or anything like crazy happened while you're over there? Like in the barracks or in the apartment?
No.
You're pretty much straight? You didn't get into any trouble or anything like that?
Nope.
You get a girlfriend over there at least?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend over there.
German?
One time, German girl, yeah.
How was she?
She was a nice girl.
Did you guys like understand each other?
Yeah, she spoke English.
Oh, okay.
That's where I learned to speak most of my German.
Mm-hmm.
Was from her. Her dad owned and operated a motorcycle machine or motorcycle shop.
Okay. Well, how did you guys meet?
At a bar.
At a bar?
Mm-hmm.
When you were like going to the apartment, like on your breaks or like after work?
No, what was we doing? We went downtown. It's going to be about the first night that I was in Coburg, first or second.
Oh, wow. You got busy quick.
We went down to some kind of a party that was going on somewhere that one of the guys knew about. And we went down and she was there and we got acquainted there.
Okay. How long did you guys last for? Since you're there for like 16, 18 months.
Oh, that situation probably lasted 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah,
okay.
maybe.
Pretty good, decent amount.
And then after that I had some dates, but nothing real serious. There was a lady there that ran a kind of a small room about this size, maybe even smaller than this, a PX for American soldiers, where she sold, shaving stuff and cigarettes and toothbrushes and paste and personal things that we needed, like underwear and socks and whatever, not uniforms, but that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And lip balm and stuff, t-shirts, whatever, so all kinds of stuff that you might need for personal use. And I don't know where her daughter had seen me, but somewhere out there at one of the places where I'd been or something, her daughter had evidently seen me and wanted to meet me. And so before I left, I went and met her on a Sunday afternoon. Everybody walks on Sunday. The German people walk. It's a family thing. They get out and walk with the grandchildren, on and on it goes. Just a family.
It's like a day off for them.
Yeah, it's a holiday, not a holiday, but a day off.
Okay.
But anyhow, I went down and did it with her. There was a bar that we went to. Uh, my group went to. Was called Frida's. Now, Frida and her husband, they were old people. I got pictures of them at home. They were old people, and they ran this bar, and they played American music on the jukebox.
Okay.
And so that's where we would go when we went downtown. I didn't go downtown all that often. I didn't have the money to go downtown all that often. My money was going home. Seems like I was always broke. But anyway.
So 16, 18 months you're there in Germany. What happens after your like tour is over?
I went home, come home.
Tyola?
Went to work for Anderson Plumbing Company.
Okay.
Putting in sewer systems, putting in water lines and stuff in houses, and we did one schoolhouse and did a motel, and we traveled around putting in sewer lines in small towns like this, like small towns like this.
All over Kansas?
Not all over, no.
Like here in Kansas?
Here in Kansas,
okay.
Yes.
And how long did you do that for?
2 years.
2 years? So once you got out of the military?
A year and a half, maybe.
Once your 2 years were done in the military, you didn't want to resign or do anything like that?
I had thought about it. I thought about re-enlisting, but I would have got one more step in rank when I did that. But I wouldn't have been able to go back where I was at. And if I was going to re-enlist, I would want to go back to Kohlberg.
Okay.
But that position would be filled. My position would be filled, and there wouldn't be a place for me there. So I left. I left and came home.
Did you still stay in touch with the people that you met there?
No.
After you came back?
I stayed in touch with one fella that was in the 35, and we are still in touch to this day.
Really?
Yeah, and he lives in Oklahoma City.
Oh, wow. So he moved, he was from here, the U.S. as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, everybody where I was at was in the U.S.
Okay.
They were all U.S. guys.
So he's in Oklahoma City now.
Well, he came from Oklahoma City. That's where he grew up.
Okay.
But yeah, we've maintained contact.
Oh, that's awesome.
In fact, the first time that we went back, he and I went back. We went back together.
Okay. So you're working for the plumbing company for 2 years?
About 2 years.
How was that like? Did you like doing that type of work?
Yeah, it was work. Yeah, I didn't mind it. And then I got married and left there. Moved to Parsons with my bride. And quit the plumbing company. Quit the plumbing company and went to work for the city of Parsons. And on the street department. And my classification was a horticulturist. That means I worked trees and shrubs. And so I did that, but actually I worked trees and shrubs and everything else, all the streets and
throughout the city of Parsons.
Throughout the city, whatever they needed done.
Okay.
Water lines or whatever they needed done. And then I saw it in the newspaper in the Parsons. It was called the Parsons Sun at that time. I don't know what it is now. If they even got a newspaper, but I saw in the Parsons Sun where they were getting ready to hire a police officer. Well, being a police officer was something that I had wanted to do. I wanted to be a state trooper from the time I was about 16 years old, because my mother was a waitress in a cafe in Iola, and she would call me in the mornings to get me out of bed to go to school, and I would go to the restaurant to get my breakfast.
Okay.
Before I went to school, and seemed like there was always a police officer or troopers in there. And they'd always say, "Come here, Jerry, sit with us." So maybe they saw something in me that was going to happen that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
when maybe they were cutting me off. I don't know exactly how to put that, but they were trying to keep me out of trouble.
Okay.
So anyway, uh, I liked them. They was nice to me, and I liked the way they dressed and stuff. You know, I liked that uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, when I grow up, I want to be one of these guys. And so now then we're in Parsons, and they got an opening for a police officer. I thought, well, the highway patrol's not hiring. They hadn't been hired for 2 years since I got back. So anyway, I became a city police officer. I went down and took the test. The chief of police knew me from the city,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "You gonna take the test?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take the test." He said, "I'm gonna hire you." I said, "Okay, fine." So I took the test, and he hired me, and so I was a police officer for 3 years in Parsons.
And did you have to go through like that routine again, where you have to do the basic training
Uh,
and all of that
when I
stuff?
became a police officer in Parsons, the guy that was working, I was on the evening shift, 3 to 11.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was working days came and picked me up in the police car, and I took him home, and he said, "You are now the city police officer, the city policeman." Well, there was other police officers there too. I think there was 5 or 6 of us on a shift, and I had not a clue how to be a policeman.
How big was the town of Parsons?
Oh, maybe 6,000,
6,000
maybe,
people.
maybe.
And it's your first day on the job, and you don't know what you're supposed to do.
No, no, I had no clue. Did not have a clue.
So what'd you do on that first day?
I went to the police station, and the sergeant was there, and he said, "Well, come on, you're going to go with me." So I rode with the sergeant. So what I learned to do was, he was a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
veteran officer, was to pay attention to what he was doing, and pick myself, uh, kind of teach myself, reading law books and city codes and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
as to how to handle things and what to do. And then I had police science 1, and police science 2 at KU.
Oh, okay.
And so I came up here for 2 years. I went to police science 1 and police science 2 for, I think it was a week or 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
for each year, for a period of time. The city paid for it, but I learned an awful lot about investigation and how to write reports and
Okay.
that kind of thing from going to school up here.
So they're kind of paying for you to get more training and get more
And then
acquainted with being
the
a
highway
police
patrol
officer.
put out notices that they were going to hire, and so I took that test, and I think there was 736 people took that test. I don't know if that's correct or not anymore. I don't remember. But anyhow, I was number 6 on the list when I got hired. So,
Oh, wow.
somewhere along the line, they made a mistake grading that test or something.
Mm-hmm. You were high up on the list out of 600 people.
Yeah,
Wow.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not, that's something I heard, and I don't know if it was true or not. I know at that time there was a lot of guys trying to be troopers because they were all looking for jobs.
Okay. And when you're a police officer in Parsons, like, did you ever get into like a shootout, or like, I don't know, you had to stop someone and they didn't stop, like anything crazy like that?
No, I never got into a shootout. I've been in several fights.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was a trooper, you get into a fight once in a while.
So how'd that happen? That first one, that first fight you had?
Hell, I don't remember. I don't know.
Or any fight that you got into that you can remember?
Well, I got into a fight with a drunk driver.
And you pulled him over
Yeah,
for speeding, or?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, for weaving in the road.
Mm-hmm.
I got into a fight with a guy that just came back from Vietnam, and he was weird.
He had PTSD,
I
suppose.
And I took him, got him.
Mm-hmm. And when he got out, like, did he think you were trying to like grab him, or like trying to harm him or something? Is that why you think he fought back?
No, he was still fighting in the jungles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had him in a weed patch. There was 2 of us. We had him in a weed patch where the weeds were taller than our heads,
Mm-hmm.
and he thought he was in a jungle.
He still thought he was there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. So he started like punching you?
No, it's more. Yeah, he tried to punch us. I had a can of that pepper spray,
Mm-hmm.
and I sprayed him real good right in the face, and that took his attention. And we got him whipped around and got handcuffs on him, and then got some water and washed his face off and stuff, so he'd be better. But we put him up for the night.
Okay.
His dad came and got him the next day, I think.
And you were already a state trooper when this happened, or are you a police
Police
officer?
officer.
Police officer. So you get hired. You take the test. You're number 6 on the list.
Mm-hmm.
You get hired by the state trooper.
Mm-hmm.
What was your? Are you more comfortable on your first day as a state trooper?
Well, I went to college. I went to school for 13 weeks at Salina
Okay.
to learn how to do the highway patrol way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the highway patrol did things different than the city police officers did or city police did. The city has its own code. You know, they have a way of doing things. What do they call that? There's something in the law that allows cities to do that, make their own rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, no, we did city rules and regulations, and sometimes we used state laws. You always wind up using state laws about, in some cases, you know, break-ins or, you know, something like that. But no, I went to Salina. I went to school for 13 weeks. Came out of Salina and coming here for my training, you know, on the road training. This is my duty station, not Baldwin, but I lived in Lawrence. However,
Okay.
I lived upstairs here. This was a hotel.
Oh, really?
This was a hotel.
So you used to live in this building
I lived in this building in room number 10
when you were a state trooper?
when I was a state trooper.
Oh, wow.
For 6 weeks until I got home and got my wife and family up here to Lawrence.
Okay.
From Parsons to Lawrence.
So you were based in Lawrence?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And you're just the state trooper for Douglas County?
No, all over.
All over? Okay.
Well, I worked Johnson County, Osage County, Franklin County, Douglas County, Franklin County, Jefferson County, Leavenworth County.
Oh, wow.
Anywhere I wanted to go. They weren't restricted like they are now.
Okay. And you complete training. How was the training like?
In Salina, it was.
Since you said you're like not really good at like that school environment, how was this?
The school
Was this
in
different?
Salina was a little tougher than boot camp in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Are you doing more like book stuff, or is it kind of the same
We're doing both.
Okay.
We're doing physical as well as book stuff. You're
Okay.
learning some hand-to-hand combat. You're learning pistol range shooting. You know, how to work accident. You know, just all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
To be a state trooper.
And what's that first day of being a state trooper like? What's that first day look like?
Well, I came here and stayed in the hotel up here, and my training officer lived here.
Okay.
So he picked me up, and it was in January of '69. I came on the highway patrol November the 4th of 1968. And I graduated from there. Would that be right? Anyway, I spent 13 weeks in Salina going to school, but it seems like I was here in January, so maybe it was in October that I came on the patrol. I guess it's been a long time ago, I can't remember. But anyhow, I had 13 weeks before I came here of training. And then I came here, and my training officer lived here in Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
So he came and picked me up here, and we went to work from here. And I rode with him for 6 months. Well, I didn't ride with him for 6 months. I rode with him for 3 months. You're supposed to ride with him 6 months. He was responsible for my activities that I did and stuff for 6 months, even though at the end of 3 months, he knew the colonel of the highway patrol, and he said, I don't need him anymore. He's ready to go. He's got it. He's ready to go. Let's get him a car.
Mm-hmm.
So they got me a car, give me a car, and then I started working on my own. But I reported to my training officer.
Okay.
And
You still had to check in and make sure you're doing stuff right.
Yeah, he checked my paperwork every day.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was still learning. I made mistakes, you know.
And are you pretty much just like patrolling the highway, making sure no one's speeding, driving drunk, doing stuff like that? Or are you also going into towns and stuff like that?
No,
or
once in a while
what's like a typical day look like for a state trooper?
Wherever you wanted to go. Back then.
Okay.
That's not that way now.
But you're on the highway the whole time pretty much?
Not necessarily on the highway. Sometimes you go through
The little
the city
roads?
of Lawrence and fool around and see what's going on. Heck, you might be driving through town and write somebody a stop sign in the city, or reckless driving, or that kind of stuff you can do,
Mm-hmm.
or expired license tags, or stolen cars, or whatever. You could do any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had authority. The trooper's authority is any highway, byway, or alley,
Okay.
or sidewalk.
And what's like the first, like you said you got into fights and stuff, but like what's like did you guys ever like get a call where there's like a shootout or there's like a robbery or something like that? And like your first like maybe like year of on the job or early on in your career as a state
I don't
trooper?
ever remember getting a call.
Like where you had to go assist like the police officers or other state troopers where something got out of hand and
I'm
it.
sure I had to do that, but I can't tell you where or when,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't remember. Some of that stuff you forget.
Because it could just it
You
happens
know,
so often.
it doesn't happen that often. You'd be lucky if it happened that way
Mm-hmm.
3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year, where you had to do it, where you dealt with somebody who was armed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I worked my last 13 years. I worked on the turnpike, and somewhere along the line on the turnpike, I caught a bullet right above the rearview mirror,
Oh wow.
and I think it was over on 18th Street in Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been sure where it was at.
And you like heard it like when it hit your car?
I heard it hit, but it didn't come in. It glanced off.
Oh,
It
okay.
just left the groove where it went, and you could see it where it
A
was
stray bullet almost got you.
at. Yeah. Well, I don't suppose it was. It might have been shooting at me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I know you mentioned like a few months back, like this one story where there was a group of kids that and their car flipped over.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about that?
that happened in Parsons.
Parsons,
Uh-huh.
when you were a police
Yeah,
officer?
when I was a police officer. Uh,
Like take
it
me
was
through
on
that
the it was
day.
on the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks, had one of those like that on, and these kids were from Chanute, and they were down there fooling around in Parsons, and the local kids got after them and got to chasing them, and they ran down this street not knowing that railroad thing went into the railroad yards, and they flipped that car over and just tore the hell out of things. Killed 2 of them, and it tore their bodies up. That was the very first accident that I was ever involved in. Very first one, and it was a fatality.
How long were you on the job for when that happened?
Probably 2 weeks.
2 weeks into the job,
Uh-huh.
and you're already taking care of fatalities,
Uh-huh.
and they're like high school age.
Yep.
Oh wow!
High school kids.
And did you get like did someone call it in,
Nope.
or how did
Well,
you
no,
stumble
wait a
upon
minute.
it?
Somebody might have called it in, because we didn't just drive over the railroad tracks and find it. Somebody called it in, I think. Yeah.
Were you the first one of the first ones to get there?
Yeah, I was still in training. I was still with the training officer.
Okay. And what did you do like when you got there? What's your reaction when you see the car like all flipped over, all kind of crumbled up?
You're a little bit amazed at that, even though I had seen some stuff, in life.
Mm-hmm.
I had been in an accident the year before I graduated from high school, which would have been 58. I was in an accident where one of my friends got killed.
And you're in the same car as him.
Yeah, we was in the same car. But that was a different kind of an accident than this. That wasn't a head-on or a crash or anything like that. That was, three of us were going hunting. We were always doing hunting or fishing or coon hunting or something when we were boys in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We always busy doing something on weekends, fishing and setting limb lines or trot lines or something. And we were on the way to go quail hunting. And this kid that we picked up lived in the country, and we went down to pick him up, and he was there. His folks were dairy farmers, so he was still cleaning the barn when we got there. Well, the kid that I was with and myself, we both knew what that was about because we'd done it.
Mm-hmm.
So to jump in and help him clean the milk barn, that's no problem at all. We both know how to do that. We got busy and got him straight away, and then loaded up and took off to go hunting. And we hadn't gone very far. The driver it was the driver, and then it was him, and then it was me. sitting by the door, and hadn't gone too far until he said, "You know, up there where we're and there's snow on the ground." He said, "Up there where we're going." It was his dad. It was one of his dad's farms. He said, "I was up there the other day getting hay, and it's pretty snowy up there. Maybe we better go back and get a couple of gunny sacks." So we turned around, went back, and got a couple of gunny sacks. Well, I got out and let him out, and I got back in and got in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the gunny sacks and come back, and he got in where I had been sitting. And we took off to go hunting, and we weren't speeding or anything like that. And there were some icy spots where the trees were hanging over the road,
Oh yeah.
and there was icy underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit one of those, and the kid lost control of it and rolled it off into a ditch, and it went in with the passenger side first and hit the fender and sprung the door open, and he fell out, and the car rolled over on him and killed him.
Oh wow.
And so that was pretty rough on me.
You were in the back seat?
No, I was in the middle seat.
Oh, you were in the middle seat. Okay.
I had been in the front seat over by the door where he was at. And then when I stooped over and got in the middle seat by the driver, he got in where three of us in the front seat.
Oh wow. So you were almost on that passenger side.
I was before.
Was he not wearing a seatbelt?
We didn't have seat belts back then.
Really? So how did you not fall out of the car when that happened? Like,
the door came back shut after he fell out, and they got rolled over on him.
oh wow.
And so I'm leaning up against the door. My sleeve of my coat was caught in the top of the door, like that. But anyway.
And what's going through your head when that happens? Like, are you guys just in shock?
Kinda. First of all, I had to get loose,
Mm-hmm.
and then the vehicle's sitting like this, so I had to get out the driver's door, the same as the driver did, to get out. We tried to get help as quick as we could to try to get it off of him, and there was nobody to help. We couldn't do it ourselves. We tried to push it off and couldn't do it.
But when the truck, like in its final resting place, the truck was on top of your friend?
It was a car. It wasn't a truck. It was a car.
A car? The car was on top of your friend?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sure was.
And like how did you guys go tell the parents yourselves, or like until the police came and they told them?
I think the highway patrol came, and I think they went and told them. They just lived up the road from where we were at. But anyway, that's the first fatality I was ever involved with, and then the second one we're talking about where they jumped over the railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my second fatality. It was a lot more disturbing, probably to me, than the first one was, because the first one he wasn't tore up. This one the bodies were tore up. I mean, arms and stuff, and
Oh really?
crap like that. Yeah.
Like the arms were torn off their bodies?
Not tore off, but you could see where they were torn and stuff.
Oh wow.
Twisted all up and stuff.
So they were going pretty fast then. And then
They could have been.
When the flipping started.
Yeah, they could have been. They could have
Okay.
been. Well, they were supposedly trying to get away from some local kids there that was chasing them,
Okay.
like kids do,
So you saw the bodies all torn up and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Dang. When you saw that, did that bring you back to like when you crashed?
No, it's a different type of crash.
Okay.
My crash, you didn't have bones sticking out of arms or legs or anything like that.
Oh wow.
No, it was
And that's 2 weeks into the job.
But anyway, so I wind up on the highway patrol in time to come.
Mm-hmm. And how long are you on the highway patrol for?
Well, I came in there on November the 4th of 1968.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's what it was. Anyway, and I was there I had 3 years. I had 3 years already in the retirement system, and I think I must have had over 27 years in the highway patrol.
27 years in the highway patrol.
I think I had 30 years in law enforcement.
Oh wow.
So 30 years and 7 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I retired.
And throughout like those years, like did you see anything like crazy, like with what you just said, like with when you were a police officer? Like crashes like that, or?
No, I can't tell you when I worked the first fatality accident as a state trooper. I can tell you when I worked the last one, but I can't tell you when I worked the first one or any others in between it.
You don't remember them?
No.
What was the last one like?
The last one was about two weeks before I retired, because it was on the turnpike, and there was some boys that were coming out to Clinton Lake from Lenexa to camp out, and there was some construction going on over by Lawrence on one of the bridges there. And when you got a bridge going this or coming this way and a bridge going this way, there's a space between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow or another, they went between that space, and down below that space there was a pond right underneath that bridge, and they landed in that pond upside down, and one of them drowned. Two of them drowned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, before we could get them out. And one of them escaped and got out by himself.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, that was a long night. I had to go to. I worked around and finally got enough information from the guy that survived about one of the characters, and he didn't know a lot about him. He knew where he lived, but he wasn't sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he gave me what he could, and I went to that street there in Lenexa, and I started driving that street. And he told me what kind of a car. He had a beige-colored Ford car, this kid that got killed. And was driving down, another trooper was with me, was driving down the street, and I see this beige-colored car sitting there, and I run a check on the license tag, and it came back, and it belonged to this kid.
Okay.
This is about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went up and knocked on the door, and got the parents up and told them what was going on.
Excuse me.
And I needed them to come to Lawrence to the hospital to make identification.
Okay.
Because that kid didn't have any identification on him.
You need to check if those were like his friends?
Yeah, his friend told me what his name was.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, they said they'd do that. Well, she said, just a minute, my daughter's got company upstairs, and I need to go tell them that we're going to leave. So she went up to tell the girls that they were leaving to go to do this thing at the hospital, and the girls weren't there. I think maybe they were just outside or something, but the girls were not in the house anyway. So they came over and made identification. And that was taking care of that. But it takes some of those things are things that you evidently forget because of what they are. It didn't keep me from doing my job or anything like that. I mean, it's not anything I carried. Maybe I carried it home with me or not, I don't know. For a little while, some of it I'm sure I probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you don't dwell on because there's really not anything you can do about it. What has happened has happened. It's a done deal. It's over with.